Did you know that only 1 in 3 adults truly have psychological maturity? That means most of us are walking through life without mastering the skills needed to handle stress, relationships, and personal growth in a healthy way. But here's the good news: becoming a psychologically mature adult is not out of reach. It's not about having everything figured out, but rather about embracing the right mindset and habits that lead to emotional balance. In this video, we'll dive into 6 surprising signs that show you're on the path to psychological maturity. From mastering your emotions to embracing imperfection, we'll explore real, practical strategies that can change the way you approach life. Ready to find out if you're one of the few who's psychologically mature, or if you're still working toward it? Let's jump into the signs you might just be a more evolved adult than you think. Chapter 1. The Emotional Weather Report. Navigating your inner storms. Psychologically mature adults know how to handle their emotions. This doesn't mean they never get upset. It means they can stay calm, even when life feels chaotic. Studies show that emotional regulation is a key sign of psychological maturity. According to a 2020 study in psychological science, people who can control their emotions tend to make better decisions, build stronger relationships, and feel more satisfied in life. One of the easiest ways to start managing emotions is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is all about being present, without judgment. This simple practice helps you notice when you're upset and give yourself space to respond instead of react. In fact, research from the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that people who practice mindfulness experience less stress and anxiety. Another trick is to take deep breaths when you feel overwhelmed. This may seem basic, but it's surprisingly effective. Breathing deeply helps calm your nervous system and brings your focus back to the present moment. A 2019 study from Harvard Medical School suggests that deep breathing can lower cortisol levels, a hormone related to stress. Psychologically mature adults also understand that emotions don't define them. They feel the emotion, acknowledge it, but don't let it control their behavior. Feelings are like visitors, they come and go, says renowned psychologist, Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett. Learning this helps you stay centered, even in emotionally challenging situations. Chapter 2. The Art of Letting Go. Mastering detachment without disconnection. Psychological maturity is all about knowing when to let go. Many people struggle with holding on to old grudges, toxic relationships, or unmet expectations. However, a mature adult knows how to walk away from things that no longer serve them, and this is vital for their well-being. One key strategy for letting go is practicing forgiveness, not for others, but for yourself. A study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that forgiveness leads to lower levels of stress and anxiety. When you forgive, you free yourself from emotional baggage. You're not excusing bad behavior, you're just choosing peace over resentment. Setting healthy boundaries is another important part of detaching. Knowing when to say no is a sign of emotional maturity. Research by the American Psychological Association suggests that people who set boundaries tend to experience less stress and more satisfaction in their relationships. Boundaries protect your time, energy, and emotional health, allowing you to thrive. It's also important to embrace impermanence. Everything in life changes, including relationships and circumstances. Holding on to what's temporary can cause unnecessary suffering. Psychologically mature adults embrace the ebb and flow of life, knowing that change is inevitable. The only constant in life is change, says philosopher Heraclitus, and mature adults know this truth well. Chapter 3. Silent Confidence. The Power of Inner Security over External Validation. The third sign of psychological maturity is the ability to feel confident without needing constant validation from others. Psychologically mature adults don't rely on compliments or approval to feel good about themselves. Instead, their confidence comes from within. One of the best ways to build inner confidence is by setting and achieving small goals. Research by the University of California found that completing small, manageable tasks boosts self-esteem and encourages greater confidence. Every time you succeed, no matter how small, you reinforce your self-belief. It's also important to practice self-acceptance. Psychologically mature adults understand their flaws and imperfections but accept them as part of who they are. According to Dr. Brené Brown, author of The Gifts of Imperfection, true confidence arises from vulnerability. When we accept our imperfections, we stop seeking validation from others. Another key element of inner security is self-compassion. Instead of being harsh on yourself when you make mistakes, psychologically mature adults treat themselves with kindness. A study from the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology found that people who practice self-compassion tend to be less anxious and more resilient. Psychologically mature adults also avoid the trap of comparison. They know that everyone's journey is different, and measuring their success against others only brings unnecessary stress. In a world full of social media, it's easy to get caught up in comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. But psychologically mature individuals stay focused on their own progress, no matter how slow it may seem. Lastly, silence is a sign of real confidence. Psychologically mature adults don't feel the need to constantly prove themselves with words or actions. Silence is a source of great strength, said Lao Tzu, and this holds true for emotional maturity. Sometimes, saying nothing is the most powerful way to express confidence. Don't forget to subscribe for more insightful tips on how to develop these skills and take control of your personal growth journey. Chapter 4. The Mirror Effect. How Self-Reflection Shapes Your Growth. Psychologically mature adults make self-reflection a daily habit. They don't shy away from looking at their actions, thoughts, and feelings with honesty. In fact, self-reflection is one of the key ways they grow. Studies show that regular self-reflection improves decision-making and emotional well-being. According to research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, people who reflect on their behavior regularly tend to be more self-aware and make better life choices. One strategy to boost self-reflection is keeping a journal. Writing down your thoughts allows you to sort through your emotions and evaluate your actions. A study by the University of Rochester found that expressive writing can reduce stress and promote mental clarity. It's like having a conversation with yourself, helping you understand what's working and what isn't. Another powerful tool for self-reflection is meditation. Taking just 10-15 minutes a day to sit quietly and observe your thoughts can deepen your self-awareness. Research from Johns Hopkins University suggests that mindfulness meditation can help reduce anxiety, depression, and improve overall well-being. It allows you to step back from your emotions and gain a clearer perspective on situations. Psychologically mature adults also ask themselves tough questions, like, what can I learn from this? Or, how did my actions contribute to this outcome? By questioning themselves, they unlock the potential for growth. It's about accepting that every experience, good or bad, has something valuable to teach you. They understand that growth doesn't come from avoiding mistakes but from analyzing and learning from them. We do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience, said John Dewey, an influential philosopher. Self-reflection helps them turn challenges into lessons and setbacks into opportunities for personal growth. Chapter 5. Boundaries or Freedom. How saying no sets you free. Psychologically mature adults know that saying no is one of the most powerful things they can do for their mental health. Establishing boundaries is essential to protecting your energy, time, and well-being. Many people fear that setting boundaries will hurt relationships, but in reality, it strengthens them. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that individuals who establish clear boundaries experience less stress and more satisfying relationships. One way to set better boundaries is to practice assertiveness. Assertiveness doesn't mean being rude or aggressive, it means expressing your needs and limits clearly and respectfully. According to a study by the Journal of Counseling Psychology, assertiveness training improves self-esteem and reduces feelings of resentment and frustration. Saying no is also an act of self-respect. It helps you prioritize what truly matters to you. Psychologically mature adults understand that they cannot please everyone, and trying to do so is a recipe for burnout. They prioritize their own needs without guilt or shame. In the words of author and psychologist Dr. Nedra Glover Tawwab, boundaries are a way to show respect for yourself. Additionally, knowing when to walk away from situations that no longer serve you is another form of boundary setting. Whether it's ending a toxic friendship or saying no to an overburdening work assignment, these decisions keep you in control of your life. Studies show that people with strong boundaries tend to be more confident and less stressed. Boundaries are a form of emotional self-care, not selfishness. In every healthy relationship, boundaries are essential. They create a safe space for mutual respect and understanding. When you set clear boundaries, you teach others how to treat you, and that, in turn, makes your relationships healthier and more fulfilling. Chapter 6. The Inner Peace Paradox. Embracing imperfection in a perfect world, psychologically mature adults have learned to embrace imperfection. In a world obsessed with perfection, they know that flaws are what make us human. Embracing imperfections doesn't mean accepting mediocrity. It means accepting yourself as you are and recognizing that you are constantly evolving. A great way to practice this is by letting go of perfectionism. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that perfectionism is linked to higher levels of anxiety, depression, and burnout. Psychologically mature adults understand that striving for excellence is fine, but expecting perfection is unrealistic. They allow themselves to make mistakes without beating themselves up. One strategy for embracing imperfection is focusing on progress, not perfection. Celebrate small victories along the way, and give yourself credit for the effort, not just the outcome. A study by the University of California found that people who focus on progress are more likely to stay motivated and continue working toward their goals. Psychologically mature adults also practice self-compassion when they mess up. Instead of being their own worst critic, they talk to themselves like a supportive friend. According to Dr. Kristen Neff, a leading researcher on self-compassion, treating yourself with kindness when you fail can lead to lower levels of stress and anxiety. Another important part of embracing imperfection is letting go of unrealistic standards, especially those set by social media. Research from the University of Pennsylvania shows that comparing your life to others on social media can lead to feelings of inadequacy and unhappiness. Psychologically mature adults don't fall into the trap of comparing themselves to others. Instead, they focus on their own path. Finally, inner peace comes from accepting that life isn't perfect and neither are you. Peace is not the absence of conflict, but the ability to cope with it, said Mahatma Gandhi. Psychologically mature adults recognize that perfection is an illusion, and their peace comes from accepting themselves and the world around them, imperfections and all. In conclusion, psychological maturity is all about embracing growth, boundaries, and imperfection. These 3 final chapters show that becoming a psychologically mature adult doesn't happen overnight, but with practice and intention, it can become your reality. Keep reflecting, setting boundaries, and embracing imperfection, and watch yourself transform into a more grounded and self-assured person. Subscribe for more content on how to continue your personal development journey.